All right, bro. We'll get started in
Okay.
a second. Just doing all the fun stuff right now. All right, happy Sabbath. As people start to join in, I want to wish everybody happy Sabbath as we get started with our discussion. As you can see, we started a little earlier this week. And from now on Friday nights, we're going to start at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Just so, I see there's other things that are going on. So we want to make sure that everybody have a chance to do everything we like to do. And still, we can get the conversations in. And plus, I know we like to watch our Sabbath movies still, so I don't want to throw that off and stuff like that. So
Right. No, yeah.
different
I
things like that.
understand that.
All right. What we're gonna deal with today is talk about. Let's see. We're gonna talk about Black hatred in the Black community.
Hmm. Yeah. So I guess sort of like not necessarily black on black crime because for the most part, a lot of people say, well, there's white on white crime, and it's whatever culture you're around, you do what some type of crime, some type of hate around them. But in particular, black on black, dysfunction, black on black hate, just kind of going along with love thy neighbor, right, Devin? And our neighbors for the most of us, for the most part, are each other. So that's what we're going to take a look at black on black, kind of dysfunction.
Right. How come we can't get along with one another?
Mm-hmm.
How can we can't get along with one another? Our communities? Why can't we get along with one another at work? Why does it seem like sometimes when one Black person is successful, someone who isn't as successful find a reason to kind of, I guess, hate on them in a way?
Right.
Why is it that when some African Americans are quote unquote more educated, that we make
Mm-hmm.
fun of them like they sound white or they're selling out and different things like that?
Right.
Or what about Black on black hatred as far as sometimes a lot of African American successful single women can't marry another brother or what, so be for that reason. I guess
Mm-hmm.
all this kind of intertwines in and of itself. So,
Mm-hmm.
discussion is, why is that, and does it really, is it real for one thing? Is it just something we're making up, or is it something that's old and it's not going on now? What is it that, why are we so divided even within the community?
Right.
Do we still have that same drive, even like in the 60s? I know we had all the marching last year and stuff like that. Where people even have an issue with that, like the Black Lives Matter movements and different things like that. You know, why is it that we as a community can't form and get along and all be on one accord? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
And it seems like it hit us harder than most of the other cultures. And it has to be a reason why, right? We understand that all things come from God, and most things are biblical. So me and Devin are trying to take a deep look at that and put it into perspective of today's world and how it fits now. Even still now,
Mhm.
most of us know we're not going to really. Well, at least I know I'm not. We're not going to really touch on all the curses or just the curses in general, but you can see what Devin just described earlier. There's a disconnect, between, some of the one percenters, black Americans and or black people around the world in general, and some of the people who aren't as well off as the rest of us. And there's a reason why. Definitely a reason why. And we're gonna look at some scriptures as always. We're gonna look at some YouTube videos and other types of sources, trying to get a holistic perspective of what's going on within our community. Because, like we said, it seems like we get we get the worst. And I always like to use that saying, when Wall Street gets a cold, black people get the flu.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah. I kind of like what did you type this up? Or they
one of the girls, I don't do
you
that stuff.
you know
Yeah.
Leah typed it
Yeah.
up. Rachel.
Yeah, yeah, or Amber, one of them. Yeah.
Gabrielle, okay. It
Mhm.
says, brief summary of the subject. Over
Oh,
time,
yeah.
races have been placed into a specific box or narrative. When an individual of this race tries to escape the stereotype or narrative, he or she may face backlash from his or her own community.
Mhm.
So that kind of sums it up pretty much what we're going to discuss, the backlash we face. I heard an individual say if somebody of a black person moves out the hood, that they're running away from themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, when you may be trying to just put your children in a better, environment.
Mhm.
Even if it's a suburb where there's a bunch of other black people, but if you're running straight, straight from the hood,
Right.
running away
Right.
from yourself, which I don't agree with that at all.
Right.
You know,
Right. Mhm.
but
Like you
that's
said,
just
Devin. Mhm. Yeah, like you said, even in those situations, they call it, oh, crabs in the barrel. And that's kind of like the other people, and what I mean, like the other people. And I hate people putting people, especially us, in a box. But for this discussion, I think it'll help a lot of people understand that, you got the people who might be a little bit more well off than the rest of us, or some people they say, oh, you're just trying to pull me down, the crabs in the barrel effect, and
mhm.
I'm just trying to do better, and it kind of escapes, sometimes the mindset of that person trying to, quote unquote, get out because you took on the mindset of a different culture. I've heard that stuff. I heard that myself quite often, because of my interracial, relationships, and I've heard that, on a daily, not on a daily basis, but on a regular. And it's you try to make sure you focus on your culture, even though you might be going towards. And I don't only think I'm going towards the other side. I don't mean to say it like that, but you're just trying to live your life and trying to make the best for your family, like you had discussed earlier.
Right, exactly. So, all right, just want to wish everybody who's watching a happy Sabbath. Let us know where you are. Give us a happy Sabbath. Hi, how you doing? We're on Facebook and on YouTube right now, streaming live. So if you're on YouTube, if you make a comment, we will read your comments during the discussion. So if we say anything or you have any like to add to the discussion, go ahead and type it up, and we'll make sure we share it with everybody else. And as you're on Facebook, same here. If you're on Facebook and you have a comment that you'd like to add to discussion, go ahead and share it. Just I guess a real quick, has anyone on here who's watching right now, have you ever experienced as far as hate within your own community? It's assuming that African Americans on this discussion right now, or
Mm-hmm.
if, I guess if you're not of African American descent, but you have seen it, I guess chime in and just to see, help to ask a question or what you have
Mm-hmm.
noticed as well. Because I don't want to pinpoint just to be about us, even though it is about
Yeah.
us. It's still a
Mm-hmm.
conversation that anybody can, give their input on, and we can go from there. So
Mm-hmm.
as always, Mike will be showing videos, right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
And then we're gonna have some scripture to go along with it.
Yes, sir. Happy Sabbath, Sister Britt. Always good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely hope all is well with you. And you know what? Some of my some inspiration sometimes comes from work, or some, well, not even from work. I guess just from the day to day, weekly grind. And I had the discussion, and I'm actually glad Sister Britt, and I don't know who's on YouTube, but I wanted to ask some of the you women this. I had a discussion with a black male, and very very smart guy, and we were talking about not this subject, saying we were going to talk about this week, but we just talked about how blacks are always against blacks, right? And he had said to me that the worst um people who get it off the worst are the black women. And and I said, well, I thought about that. I think it's the black man, and we understand blacks, in my opinion, get it the worst. But even that, within ourselves, right, we're trying to compare each other's plight. It's kind of totally, exactly the curses on what we're talking about.
Happy Sabbath, Sister Stephanie. Sister Stephanie Jackson is on. Good vibes. We're gonna give you a happy Sabbath. Well, she's
Oh, she
watching on
must have been on
YouTube.
YouTube. So
Yeah,
where's
she's
she at?
watching. Yeah, she's watching on YouTube. But you know what? I
Hmm.
guess what you were saying is, does the African American woman get it worse than African American male? It's just, I guess, it's perspective, because
Right.
I don't know what the African American woman experience You know,
Hmm.
how does she take it? Because I'm not, but I can't go
Right.
off what my wife say, and she, says she has to work
Hmm.
harder at things.
Hmm.
She's an African American woman.
Right. Right.
I don't
Right.
like to use woman of color no more because everybody taking that. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody's a person of color. They're not white, but
Hmm.
but
Right.
this
Yeah.
is
So
it worse in their own community with African American women. Now, I will say this: our music. When I was coming up, listening to that time period when hip hop took a bad turn, and it was always referred to African American women as derogatory terms.
hmm.
And
Hmm.
they put it on mainstream and everybody, just playing it and different stuff like that. And it doesn't promote, neither male nor female in a way.
Right. Right.
Using
Right.
it to drugs to our own community, they're degrading
Hmm.
sisters and they're degrading even I guess, brethren who doesn't meet their standard as gangster or whatever.
Hmm. Hmm. Or make enough money, right? Yeah, for them to be to live off of, So you're right.
Right.
You're right.
So I guess even through music, we I guess that can affect black on black hatred even in that as well.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, yeah. And I guess we, can get into some description, but just to finish this up, his opinion on that was, the black women aren't feared like the black men are. So in essence, you know, they are hated more because they're looked at as more of a afterthought, and I like this perspective. And also and another woman I actually had a discussion with this, she looked at it from a business standpoint and she said, the male dominance in the workplace overall can
Mhm.
be you know, is a help for you, even though you're an African American male, because you're always going to be looked at, certain personality traits. That's leadership. But if a woman, in particular, an African American woman, has those personality traits, she's looked at as, some derogatory words, female doll. We're not saying the word, but you understand
Right,
what I'm
right.
talking about, things like that. And I never, it's just like you just said, Devin, I'm not a woman. And I don't, I never thought about that. So I don't know. And I don't know. I just know overall, for me anyway, the black people, Israelite people are, probably, the
Mhm.
worst.
Okay. So I guess even though that's outside the black on black community, how does that translate to the black on black community?
Hmm.
So
Um,
I know sometimes when I guess sometimes we talk about how do I want to word this the right way? The
yeah.
the aggression of Hebrew Israelites sometimes.
Hmm.
The
Okay.
men, how once
Hmm.
they realize our heritage, that it kind of goes to their heads a sense of
Uh,
power.
got you.
Since they don't
Got
have
you.
that power, I guess, in the workplace, they can have that power at home and in the church, and it kind of
Hmm.
elevates it from there. So the lack of humility goes away,
Yeah,
and
it does.
it dwindles down also to the separation of different camps and separation of even the man and woman relationship. You know,
Yeah.
a little bit more overbearing. Or
Hmm. Hmm.
so how does that translate for what you're saying to the black on black community?
Yeah. Yeah. It actually, I'm not gonna say downgrade, but I guess deteriorates it even more because we're looked at to be kind of like the protectors, kind of to be like you know and I hate using it. I hate using somewhere. So that's why I'm always like trying to, like you just said, trying to watch my words and what I say. But that platform, I guess, where the man and woman are supposed to, work together, intermingle, right? And because that mindset is in us, because coming from home and coming from work, we're not getting the total, like what the respect that we think we deserve. We take it out on, our family, wife, kids, etc. So it kind of deteriorates that family structure, which then goes on generationally, gets worse and worse as generations go on. I think
Mhm.
that's what you were trying to say, right? I think that's what you were trying to ask me. Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Just in my opinion, that's what it is.
All right. Well, cool. All right. So real quick, you want to get into some scripture, bro, or
Yeah, yeah. So I just actually I wanted to open it up to I don't know where I actually want to start. So let's start in Luke chapter 23. I guess I want to just talk about, I guess, black on black hatred against, the king and, God and Jesus and, what he went through. This man, Luke chapter 23, you want to go to, we read just verses 1 through 4 and then read verses 13 through 25 and talks about when basically everyone knew, people understood who this brother was. He was supposed to be, Messiah, the savior of the sheep, and because the Pharisees and Sadducees that day didn't like him, they kind of offered him up to the other nation. They kind of offered him up, to be crucified. And to me, we see this every day. A good man or a good woman, just trying to do the right thing in, some type of what hate. I forget what the kids say these days. Oh, why you hating on me, or why why you doing this? But back in my day, it was like, it was hate, and because you're mad at my success, I'm trying to bridge the gap. Because you were mad at my success, you're going to offer me up, to this. And there's plenty of examples in the Bible, but I just wanted to use this one, Luke chapter 23. And big bro, when you get there, just read verses 1 through 4.
Okay. Luke chapter 23, verses 1 through 4. And the whole multitude of them arose and led him unto Pilate. And they began to accuse him, saying, we have found this fellow perverting the nation and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ, a king.
All right, so we see here that a gang, the people who didn't like Jesus, took him and he gave him to Caesar, and tried to, basically say, hey, he ain't giving to you guys, he ain't giving to, what his just due, again, lies and deceit, just to try to get him away, get the problem out of him, because he was stopping, their popularity, he was stopping their back, he was stopping their money. Again, I'm just using it that way because this is exactly, how it is these days. You have someone who's trying to come and try to teach you and do the right thing, but instead you're trying to live status quo and try to, just be selfish and gain, black on black crime, black on black hate. Verse 4. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The crazy thing about it is the Pharisees didn't like the Romans no way.
Right. At
So
all.
What did they care if Jesus, even though they were lying, if Jesus was doing this? So they like you said,
right.
Their whole point, I agree with what you're saying. Their whole point really wasn't for justice because he wasn't paying, tithes to Caesar or whatever, tribute to Caesar.
Right.
It was the fact that they didn't like him because, he was getting more attention than they were.
Right. And again, I'm everybody know me, I'm no street dude at all. But it kind of reminds me of, you ain't paying respect over here. Well, I'm gonna tell a dog on this other guy, who all have a common enemy to, that you ain't doing this, and I'm gonna get rid of you that way. It's sickening. And like I said, I don't see it in other communities. I could just only speak for what I see in my own community. And this is the perfect example of how, basically we've always been, since these times.
Testing, can you hear me okay, Mike? Can you hear me okay?
Yes. I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, you're going in and out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kim just said that my audio.
Oh, you know what? I saw Sister Britt say your audio was low. Okay. Thanks, sis. Yeah, so this is one of the earlier examples of how we even mistreated our king, our savior, Jesus. So again, Pontius Pilate, we're going to read about that. How, oh man, that was legit. I can hear you a lot better now, though.
Oh, you can hear me?
I can hear you a lot better now. Yeah, I can.
Okay. What about those on Facebook and YouTube? Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you a lot better, yeah. But I guess because I had my headphones on too. I didn't have an issue hearing you, but now I got to turn you down my headphones.
All right, cool.
All right, so we're on verse 3. Bro, whenever you get a chance, verse 3.
All right, verse 3. And Pilate asked him, saying,
and again, this is what Pontius Pilate had to say, who wasn't a part of our community, who wasn't, necessarily, he was living in our community, but he wasn't he wasn't an Israelite. He wasn't a Hebrew. You know, we're gonna see what he said. So verse 3, when you get there.
Art thou king of the Jews? And he answered him and said, Thou sayest it.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4. Then said Pilate to the chief priests and to the people, I find no fault in this man.
So, you know, Pilate, like, all right, why is he in front of me? What's going on? I don't understand why you brought this guy up to me. You know, because again, they were accusing him of things that, you know, Pilate didn't care about, you know, but because we needed to get rid of this man because he was messing up our status quo in this worldly world, or just he was messing up my block. He was messing up my, you know, my money, you know, messing up my popularity. You know, we need to get rid of those. So instead of working with each other, you know, we try to get rid of the problem. Anything you want to say, Devin?
No, yeah, you spot on, bro.
Okay. So let's jump to verse 13 through 25, just to see again, you know, exactly what's going on and how Pilate keeps on saying, like, I don't know what you want me to do, you know. So we're going to take a look at it a little bit deeper. Jump down to verse 13.
Mm-hmm. And Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, he said unto them, Ye have brought this man unto me, and as one that perverted the people, and behold, I have examined him before you, and found no fault in this man touching those things whereof ye accuse him.
All right, so Pilate keep on saying again that, you know, hey, yeah, he's bringing together all the leaders of, you know, Israelites, you know, all the black leaders, right? And he's saying, like, again, I don't find no fault in this man. Why, again, whatever you guys accuse him of, he's innocent to me. I don't know why you're here. And previously we just stumped the verse, but you know, he probably even sent them to King Herod, who again, you know, part in our family, but not really, right? You know, a Jew. But you know, and even he said, I don't know what's going on. So again, we have a liking to bring our issues to the other nations and try to handle so they can try to handle how to handle our issues, and you know, instead of coming together. Debbie, you got anything you want to say before we move on?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So actually, you know what, I should have just let you read it. Read verse 15.
No, nor yet Herod, for I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. I would therefore chastise him and release him. For necessity, he must release one unto them at the feast.
All right, so you know, the Pilate was like, all right, you know, again, no one's found fault in him, so you know, I'm just going to slap him on the wrist, right? You know, give him a ticket. You know, a lot of us are used to that, right? And go about your merry way, you know. But you know, again, because of the feast was coming, you know, and due to the customs, you know, I guess that they had set up. And Devin, I actually wanted to ask you about that. Due to the customs that they had agreement, probably, you know, I'll release one Hebrew Israelite every year, right? So, you know, and we're gonna see what happened. Instead of releasing, you know, this person, Jesus, because nothing's wrong with him, he wanted to release someone who, you know, had all types of issues.
Right.
And we're gonna take a look at that. Verse 18.
And they cried out all at once, saying, Away with this man, and release unto us Barabbas. Barabbas. Yeah, I'm sorry, Barabbas. Who for a certain decision made it in the city for murder was cast into prison.
All right, so this man was a murderer, right? You know, this Barabbas, this Hebrew was a murderer. So, and he was there for a good reason, right? You know, one of the royal laws says, thou shalt not murder. He was there for a good reason. Instead of the reasons they were trying to make up for the Lord, you know, righteous man, they wanted to release Barabbas because he didn't pose a threat. He didn't pose a threat to, you know, their power structure or their status quo. You know, and it's sad because instead of trying to uplift each other, it's the same things that we're going through now. You know, we crucify, you know, and not like Jesus. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Jesus. We crucify, you know, people who are trying to uplift the community, but then we put on a pedestal the people who are trying to, you know, deteriorize our community. Like you said, you know, rappers, you know, from male or female, you know, we put those people on a pedestal because that sounds cool. But the people who are, you know, intellectuals, educators, even are good religious people anyway, which I don't know who they are, but that's beside the point. You know, we don't give them the same type of due. Our mindset's all messed up. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let you read the rest of that. Go ahead, finish out, read verse 20 through 25.
All right, 20 to 25. Pilate,
Mm-hmm.
therefore, willing to release Jesus, spake again to them, but they cried, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. And he said unto them the third time, Why? What evil hath he done? I found no cause of death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go. And
Mm-hmm.
they were instant with loud voices, requiring that he might be crucified. And the voices of them and of the chief priests prevailed. And Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they required. And he released unto them him that for sedition and murder was cast into prison, whom they had desired, but he delivered Jesus to their will.
So Pilate just basically just to shut up their holler. He just said, "All right, I'm just gonna give in. I'll do what you want me to do with this person. You know, political. What do they call that? Political pressure, and I'll get rid of this man." But the point is that to me sums up what exactly we're talking about. It wasn't Pilate, other nations who wanted to get rid of Jesus. It was us, blacks against blacks, African Americans, whatever you want to call us, here that wanted to get rid of one of our good ones.
The good one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess I should say that. I'm sorry. Right. Yeah, so it's just sad, Devin. You know, it's it's in the Bible, and we see it. You know, even nowadays, that people, you know, want to get rid of the people who are making sense instead of getting rid of the culture that's, you know, keeping us in this situation.
A
And
toxic
we love,
culture.
yes, and we blame, you know, the other nations for the predicament that we're in, which they have a hand in it, but ultimately is us. You know, ultimately is us and getting back to our Lord. Instead, we killed our Lord.
Right. So, you know, I guess there's a lot of things that we endure, and even some small things that people might even dismiss. You know, like for instance, skin tone. You know, skin tone, hair texture. You know, hair texture. That's big in the black community. What else? Status. If you have on Jordans or if you just had on some regular plain Nikes.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of different things that we attack each other for.
Sister Britt had a comment, and then I was going to talk about something else just like that. But Sister Britt, and again, thank you for joining us. I think everybody that's going to be joining us, who are joining us on YouTube, and then, you know, in the future or even now. So Britt said, "This is another topic that I'm happy and happy Sabbath, Sister Ann. So this is another topic that I'm happy to listen, because I'm just starting to see the importance of knowing about Black culture and community, and culture and history. I'm sorry, you know." And Sister Ann Johnson said, "You know, happy Sabbath to you as well." So no, yeah. But I wanted to point out something like else too, Debbie. You know, just, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but just being able to read a book, you know, you get backlash from that. Being good at math, being a good student, you know, people get backlash from that, saying that, oh, you know, you're not acting your race, you're not acting your cool. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know if you guys heard about one rapper, Devin, is back in our day. Remember Fredro Starr? He was a part of that. He was part of Onyx.
Yeah, I
He was
remember
on he was Moesha and everything.
Slam.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you heard what he said about this other rapper, Royce the 5'9", and he compared them to. He basically said, you know, oh no, he's an intellectual rapper. He's not a real rapper. That he reads books and stuff. And you know, just like, what does that mean? Like, how it was? He said it in a degrading, you know, kind of way. And it was like, I don't even understand what that means. You read books. I thought that was me being a rapper, trying to get words to broaden my vocabulary so I'm better at my craft. I don't understand why that's an issue.
Well, you know how many rappers actually have masters?
No,
and they portray themselves that you know
that they're gangsters.
Yeah. Instead of letting the community know this is what I achieved, this and this is where I went, but they want to portray themselves as, I guess, a lower IQ.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's a problem, because who are they reaching? They're reaching our youth. They're reaching our people.
Yeah.
So I aspire to be like, we're trying to aspire to be like that, and it's a shame.
Right.
And I guess we were talking about earlier, and everybody who's just joined us, thank you for joining us. It's the culture, the higher percentage trying to, it's, I forgot what you said, Devin. Whatever you said was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I forgot. But basically, you're saying that the higher status people, instead of trying to uplift us, they do the opposite, and then the lower status people, instead of trying to do it the right way, they try to pull the other people down. It was something like that. You had
Kind of like what you said, basically crabs in a barrel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you have anything you want to share? You want to
You know what?
look at some of the videos?
Play the one with Charles Barkley.
Okay. All right, guys, just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen and show the Charles Barkley, and he had a point about how we, basically how we are. Oops. All right, so hope everybody can see that. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah. It says Barkley, black people face crap from other black people.
All right, here we go.
Here's what he said. He said there are a lot of black people who are unintelligent, who don't have success. It's
You hear
best
that?
to knock a successful black person down because they're intelligent, they speak well, they do well in school, and they are successful. He raised a lot of eyebrows this weekend when this audio came out from a radio interview. Here's the rest of some of what he said.
When you're black, you have to deal with so much crap in your life from other black people. It's a dirty, dark secret. I'm glad it's coming out. For some reason, we are brainwashed to think if you're not a thug or an idiot, you're not black enough. If you go to school, make good grades, speak intelligent, and don't break the law, you're not a good black person. And it's a dirty, dark secret, Anthony. Listen, I hate to bring white people into our crap, but as a black person, we all go through it when you're successful.
Okay, so
Lord.
Tara, he was talking about an African-American quarterback, and he said that, now again, I don't even know if the reports are true. He was saying that about Russell Wilson. He's saying Russell Wilson, members of his team don't think he's black enough and they don't like him. I don't know, that's not our reporting, but he certainly caused a firestorm. What do you make of his comments?
Well, I mean, that's Charles Barkley. He's known to cause controversy and be very frank in his words. He definitely doesn't mince words. But, I mean, I may not have worded it the way he did, but I understand where he's coming from. I mean, the most racism I ever experienced in my life came from people in the black community from the time I was a little girl, because I was light-skinned, because I have light eyes, because I speak differently, because I'm educated. It was ridiculous. And if you go to my Twitter feed after the show, you're going to see all of the most disgusting, vile things predominantly coming from black folks. And I think that that's unfortunate. It's a sad commentary, and it's something that, Van may or may not disagree, but I can go based off of my own personal experiences, that is a very real thing. The crabs in the barrel aspect.
I see it differently, sis.
Well, the crabs in the barrel syndrome is definitely, it exists.
Okay.
There may be other parts of it that doesn't happen to everyone, but it exists. And I think Charles Barkley was brave in actually mentioning it. I understand where he's coming from with that. It's real.
Look, listen, I see it differently. Look, I don't think African Americans are unique in having some jealous, hateful people in the community. But I tell you, my experience is wherever I go, African Americans are proud that I have an Ivy League education. I've done well. I get a lot of attaboys and a lot of you-goes from a lot of people, and you always have a few. But what I am concerned about are the people who overreact to the few and then spread stereotypes themselves about our community. The biggest obstacles in our community are not a few hateful crabs in the barrels. We have big obstacles like a prison system that's out of control, arresting way too many African Americans who do the same level of crime as whites when it comes to drug crimes. We have much bigger obstacles than the crabs in the barrel.
Here's what I think. I think you're absolutely right on that. But I also think that is an entirely different subject. You can mention one thing and not have to mention the other all the time. You don't have to say, let me preface this by saying, I know there's racism. Of course we know there's racism. We live racism every day. So I think Tara has a point.
But I just
in
think
the
he
sense,
overstated.
I
think he overstated.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think Tara has a sense in a point, to a point here, that you always have to preface it and say, okay, listen, I know there's racism, people, but let me just make this observation. Why should you be limited? Why should you be limited as a person and as a professional by always having to give a caveat about something that is
I'm not talking about that
sense?
caveat. I may have misspoken, Don. Let me just say this. He said that the reason we won't be successful is because of other African Americans,
Well,
and I'm
Charles
saying
Barkley,
that's an overstatement. I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he engaged in hyperbole, but again, that's just Charles Barkley, that's his personality. But I do think the crux of what he said, there is some validity to it. I've lived it. I live it every day. You know, as a minority female conservative, do you have any idea the names that I'm called from black folks? I mean, they call me every name in the book. I don't get that. I didn't have that experience on the other side.
Ben, I'm sure you've seen, we've talked
Van.
about this. You've seen this. I'm sure you've seen my Twitter feed. You've seen the criticism. If I don't carry a certain narrative for which people think that African Americans or liberals, and I'm not a liberal and I'm not a conservative either, then I am all of a sudden Uncle Tom, I am a sellout, I am all of these things. And it's like, what are you talking about? And every single person, I was at brunch yesterday with all black people, about 10 black people, and everyone said he has a point. He said it wrong, but he is correct in his point. It's absolutely true, Van.
Well, let me say a couple of things. One, there is a party line in the black community politically. If you go against that, you will hit a bug zapper. That is true.
Yeah.
All the recruiting.
Uh-oh. All right, so can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me, Devin?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, cool. So, you know, that was some of his thoughts and, you know, what he thought about it, you know, and I definitely agree with Barkley. Yeah, he definitely said it wrong. And I like how the sister and Mr. Lehman actually said that too. You know, yeah, Charles Barkley, that's what Charles Barkley does. Mm-hmm. You know, but, you know, what the point that he had to me was absolutely correct and exactly what, you know, we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I guess I experienced it in my life, especially when, you know, I used to, from 3rd to 8th grade, I went to a majority white school. Then I transferred to a school in Gary, which, man, was night and day. And I spoke differently. And, you know, I was been told, you know, hey, you sound like a white boy, or this, and this, and this and that, you know, and it does something. Sometimes you might have to try to, even though I never did, but I seen people who try to prove how hard they can be when it wasn't even necessary, trying to fit in and stuff like that.
So I totally agree. Sister Britt said, you know, she has a story about that. So she said, long story short, the only time I experienced a race situation was when my grandpa met Mike for the first time. He was so close to disowning me. It's funny now because when we found out Mike was also Mexican, my grandpa goes, Mike, you're also Mexican, shakes his hands and welcome to the family. Mike is white and Mexican. I'm sorry, so I thought it was funny. I'm sorry you had to go through that, but just the way, I mean, she's absolutely right, bro. Just the way that is, like, it totally switched up, right? You know, she said, I think it's Monday, maybe. Mike said he's not racist. Oh, Mom said he's not racist, just had some unpleasant experience back, you know, in his day. But that was new to me. LOL. Mom. Oh, she did clarify. I was saying, Mom. Yep. You know, and yeah, it's just it's unfortunate. You know, it's unfortunate. And like you said, Devin, I know my daughter. You know, most people know my daughters are mixed. My oldest daughter, she had issue at one of her schools, and they were calling her the white girl. You know, it's yeah, and she's interracial, so she is, you know, she is white. But you know, it's kind of like you're getting it from both sides, right? Because you're not truly black and you're not truly white, so therefore, you know, she's, because of her color of her skin, like you just talked about the colorism part of it, and because of the texture of her hair, again, you had talked about it earlier. You know, it's always going to be a battle, and it shouldn't be, especially from our side. You know,
right?
You know, we need to learn how to love all of us. You know, not just the ones that portray what we want them to portray.
Right. Right. You know, it was funny. I was watching a movie and it was trying to be funny, but I never heard of the paper bag test. You ever heard of the paper bag test?
You know what? I just heard of it like a year and a half ago. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's
I
crazy.
never heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you put a brown paper bag that you get from the grocery store and you put it to
Mhm.
somebody's complexion, they darker than that, then they too dark.
Yeah.
Man, we come up with some crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy, right? You know, go ahead.
No, I was about to say that. But let's turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 11. I'm saying, like you're saying, this is an ongoing thing. I just want to show another place where even Apostle Paul had to deal with his own countrymen. Even, you know, when him spreading the word and all different things like that, that he still had to come up against our own countrymen, that this, you know, black on black hatred is not anything new, that we always suffered this.
Right. And why you go there? Why are you said 2 Corinthians chapter 11?
2 Corinthians chapter 11, yeah.
All right. So R.A. Torrey, how you doing, sir? Happy Sabbath. Said, how much of the hate that we experience is engineered into our mindsets by a satanic system that promotes division?
Yep.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Yes.
You know, even like in the school system, sometimes, you know, all the sisters are placed in front, all the brothers in the back. And then since a young black male can't sit still, you know, they dope him over with some kind of medication or say he's a problem child and different things like that. When actually we as a people are engineered by them, you know, to be workhorses. You know, that stuff, what do you think they were doing in slavery? You know, they're doing the same thing they're doing now with animals. They were doing that to us, trying to get the strongest man, the strongest women who can work and get out there and pick the cotton. You think that's not our system? You know?
Right.
So
but Jim,
are we just gonna sit there? No, we move. We, you know, a lot of us learn with our hands, a lot of us learn by watching. You know, like me myself, I can watch a YouTube video and build a house, you know, just from watching and different things like that. So I 100% agree what he's saying. It is a satanic that promote division, and but we have to acknowledge it and do something about it too.
Right, because we know this.
Right, man. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, we're going to turn to verse 22. So even Paul the apostle had to even deal with own countrymen when he was trying to spread the gospel. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and start at verse 22. When you get there, bro, go ahead.
Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I.
So we can say that about a lot of things, you know. Are we African American? Yeah. An educated black man and a non-educated black man are still African American.
Right.
One shouldn't down the other.
Right.
You know, and like that one brother saying, there are a lot of things outside of this, you know, that he was talking about. You know, I don't agree with Charles Barkley when he said that that's the only thing that keeping us down. It's a ton of stuff.
There's a ton of stuff, right?
Right, but this is just one particular topic. I agree with the anchor who did say this is one particular topic that we're addressing. We don't have to do every single thing.
Right.
So, you know, even here, he was saying, you know, I'm a Hebrew just like they are. I'm an Israelite just like they are. I'm a seed of Abraham just like they are. Verse 20.
Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more, and labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths oft. Of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one.
So Paul just running down exactly his resume, what he experienced. And it's a funny how sometimes, you know, when I guess, you know, other brothers or sisters who try to look down on somebody who more successful in life than they are, they don't realize the struggle that they had to do to get to that point. They don't realize the times they're up studying. They don't realize the sacrifices they made. They don't realize how much money they put into school or whatever, or education and different things like that to get to that point. It's not, I don't know why sometimes we think it's just given to us or just given to that person. You know, like people say, well, man, you don't know where I'm from. I was like, well, I'm from Gary. You know, where you from? I went to the same school you went to, you know? Right. Granted, it might have been different circumstances at home that I'd have to deal with that they did, or I could have dealt with worse. We don't know. But you can't assume that just because somebody's successful that they didn't endure a lot of hard times to get to that point.
Yeah. Bro, I'm sorry. I'll let you. I didn't know if you were done the scripture.
Oh yeah, I want to, but keep going. I want to go ahead and read what else he was talking about to get to.
Okay. Okay. Thrice, verse 25. Thrice was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. And night and day I have been in the deep. In journeyings often, in perils of water, in perils of robbers, in perils of by my own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren.
Now, isn't that sound like a typical day for some African Americans? Yep. You're in perils when you're going to work. You're in perils when you get to a job. You're in perils by your boss. You're in perils by your coworkers. Then you come to your community and you're in perils by your own countrymen.
Right.
Then you're in perils by false brethren.
Right.
You know, I mean, so, go ahead.
And shoot, technically, I would want to talk about verse 24. You know how, some rappers like to say, I've been shot 5 times. I've been shot 8 times. I mean, kind of Paul, he was beaten with 45 times. He was beaten 40 times. Like, I mean, every time I come on my block, I get beat up by people in my own community. I'm trying to work for y'all, and every time I got to go down a different route.
Right.
It's crazy. Right.
It's kind of like, even though when people were talking about the protests, which honestly I did protesting, I agree with, but how it was done, I did not, because we were tearing up our own communities.
Right.
And I think I saw one video when a man was just sitting there crying in a corner because his own people tore up his business, his life.
Yeah.
Just to prove a point to some people who was killing us anyway. So they on us, and we turn around to burn down our own neighborhood.
Right. Right.
Even though I'm not against protests, but I don't like how some of those things were handled.
No, agree. No, this is. I was going to say that too, bro. That and I don't agree with people say, oh, well, it's not. We don't own the majority of stuff anyway. It wasn't ours anyway. When they talk about the Targets and the CVS that are in our communities, and that might be true, but they service our communities, and I'm not going to tear down what my mom or my grandma might need a prescriptions from that, CVS or Rite Aid. Right. I don't know. I'm pretty sure y'all got the same things out there, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not
Rite Aid, but I know what a Rite Aid is.
Okay. Yeah, so
because every city need an anchor. I wish Gary Ann had a Target or Walmart. We don't have an anchor.
Wow.
Only anchor we have is going to be a casino, and that don't bring, you know what I mean? That doesn't bring, really good to the community. So I mean, I wish that we had an anchor like that. I wish that we would have something to say, hey, only way we can get this, we go to this community and invest so that community can pay taxes and give back to the community. But like I said, I'm not disagreeing with the protests, but I just don't like when it destroys our own community. Right.
Sister Michelle in Habits Avenue says she had posted, you are against rioting and and looting, which is very different from protests, civil disobedience.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly what it is.
Right. There's always ways to go about it, righteous spiritually ways to go about, getting out your anger and, the lack of patience, because I heard a lot of people say, we always talking, we've been talking for years. All right, but we got to keep on, doing that because we're not affecting nobody but our own selves when we do stuff like this. You want to show? So, Debbie, did you want to show that Malcolm X video?
I do. I want to read a comment real quick.
Okay.
No, it's a comment on Facebook.
I don't see it. I'm sorry. Who is it?
R.A. Torrey.
You know what? I always have an issue with him sometimes. Hold on. Oh man, can you read it? I'm sorry, I just did something wrong on my Facebook.
He says, Matthew 24 verses 9 and 12 through 13. Speak to the hate and enmity that is caused by sin.
I see it now.
A renewed mind. You see it?
Yes, I do see it now. Yeah, I see it now.
Exactly. Yeah. We do. We need a very renewed mind. Because I mean, and I'm gonna say, and when we talk about black on black crime or black on black, like you said, I like how you said that in the beginning. I want to reemphasize that. You know, only reason black on black crime is big in the black community because we're all together.
Right.
But you know, we talk about the self-hatred that we have for one another.
Right.
You know, which you know, whether it's education, that person is more educated. Even when people look at other people with disdain because they do well in school and you don't, you know.
Yeah.
This just need to stop and stuff like
You
that.
know, yeah. I wanted to read you know, about David and what he did with what's his name? That was with I forgot the dude's name that he got killed off and took his wife. You know, that kind of was black on black crime to me because it was someone of higher status, you know.
Oh, you're right, Hittite?
Yes, you're right. That's what I meant. You're right, Hittite. Someone of higher status taking, you know, what wasn't his. And, you know, and when me and Devin are saying black on black crime, we're not talking about, you know, the shootings and killing statistics that are being shown. They try to push in the media, which we talked about last week, and how the media try to manipulate, you know, to a certain, you know, mindset. We're not necessarily talking about that. We're talking about hatred. We're talking about disgust with one another. You know, we're talking about the overall virtue that we have with each other, morality that we have with our own brethren and our own sisters. You know, but, you know, even one of our most righteous kings, you know, was weak, and he showed that same type of mentality. You know, he repented for it, and he was very sorrowful for it. But because of that, you know, we understand that, you know, the sword never left his house. And that's even to this day.
Right.
You know, so Sister Michelle has said something. She said, yep, and sin is the reason people take everything too far. Right.
So yeah, we can play that clip from Malcolm X because I do like one of the things that he said as far as
Me too.
Who's our leadership?
Right.
The black community.
Right. I do. Yeah. So this is something that Malcolm X said, and what Malcolm X passed away, over 40 years ago? Something like that. Okay. But yeah, you're probably. Yeah. And he, this stuff still holds true even today. You know, some of the things that he said. So just bear with me, guys. Can you hear that, Devin?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna blow it up.
Today, in our discussion of minority groups, we have with us two guests. One is Minister Malcolm X. Shabazz, one of the top leaders of the Nation of Islam, or the so-called black Muslims.
The charge of violence against us actually stems from the guilt complex that exists in the conscious and subconscious minds of most white people in this country. They know that they've been violent in their brutality against Negroes, and they feel that someday the Negro is going to wake up and try and do unto them as they have done do unto the whites as the whites have done unto us. We are a violent group. When we see our people being brutalized by white bigots, white racists, we think that they are foolish to allow themselves to be beaten and brutalized and do nothing whatsoever to protect themselves. They are foolish. They should have the right to defend themselves against any attack made against them by anyone. If a dog is biting a black man, the black man should kill the dog. Whether the dog is a police dog, a hound dog, or any kind of dog. If a dog is sick on a black man, when that black man is doing nothing but trying to take advantage of what the government says is supposed to be his, then that black man should kill that dog, or any two-legged dog who sicks the dog on it.
Should other black men help that particular person who was attacked?
I think you'll find, sir, that there will come a time when black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves. Then the black man will think like a black man, and he will feel for other black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together. And this type of thinking also will bring an end to the brutality inflicted upon black people by white people. And it is the only thing that will bring an end to it. No federal court, state court, or city court will bring an end to it. It's something that the black man has to bring an end to himself. Being friendly and being a friend, I think, are two different things. I think there are many whites who act friendly toward Negroes. A fox acts friendly toward the lamb. And usually the fox is the one who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate. The wolf doesn't act friendly, and therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
I'd like to point out, though, that...
And I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro, who actually differs from the white conservative in the same way that the fox differs from the wolf. Their appetite is the same. Their motives are the same. It's only their mannerisms and methods that differ. I'm suspicious of whites who join Negroes and always have to be in the lead, who always have to be the head, who always have to be at the top in Negro organizations. Those whites who really have the interest of blacks at heart, let them give some advice to some Negroes and stand on the sideline. But don't join the organization and then get at the head of it and pose as a friend of Negroes.
Well, I think that today you could point to a large number of Negro leaders who have consistently betrayed Negroes in a whole host of areas.
They aren't really Negro leaders. These are puppets that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. These are parrots that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. You can't name me a Negro leader who has been betrayed Negroes, who has not been endorsed, sanctioned, subsidized, and supported by the white liberals. Now, concerning the poll taken by Newsweek magazine, I think you said that this was the leaders who said that, who went with King and against Mr. Muhammad, around 90%. I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community, and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear. You'll find that oftentimes Negroes are as much on guard around Negro interviewers, who usually represent the bourgeois element of Negroes, as they are on guard around whites. Usually Negroes know that when this bourgeois Negro walks through the door, he is not doing something that he's initiated himself, but he's involved in something in which the white man is the absolute author of, and has sent him to the Negro community for some information. And when they give that Negro some information, usually they give him the information that they want him to take back to the white man, because that's who he's going to take it back to.
4 more minutes.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I liked a couple things in there too, but I'll let you go first and tell me exactly, maybe what did you like that was in there?
I like a couple things. I don't like everything that he said.
Right.
I did like a couple of things he said. I did agree that sometimes our leaders are our role models in, whether it's in entertainment industry, are sometimes pushed to the forward and are, are leading, our kids instead of the more educated ones and stuff like that.
And not saying that, I know what you're also talking about, but just go further. Not saying that, those brothers and sisters that are in entertainment aren't educated, but just educated on the topics that they're talking about enough to actually lead a whole culture, right? You're absolutely right. I don't want to listen to someone who, they make their living off of, music or entertainment, and on political issues or even more moralistic issues, that just because of the fact that, you know, some of the music or movies or things that are portrayed might not be what, they might just be different. You know, it's almost like do for them, it's like do as I say, not as I do. You know, not as I make my money. So I agree with you. I like that myself. You know, Black people, and I also like what he said, that Black people are the ones that had to get themselves out, and not, you know, a bill or some legislation, you know, to get us out, you know, because it makes us more lazy. And I can go into even that mindset, but you know, we have to get ourselves out. And the way we get ourselves out is getting back to the Lord. You know, it's not, you know, following the leader, it's following the Lord. But we need to understand that, you know, who we are before we do that, right?
Yeah. Oh, but since we're talking about it, you know, okay, for instance, like Ice Cube, that's kind of fresh.
Yeah.
You know what Ice Cube did, how he had the
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the platinum plan. Now,
yeah.
to play devil's advocate, he has the platform. And he used his platform, you know, from, you know, he was part of NWA, you know, Brothers with Attitude, which I don't like using another word. Brothers with that attitude, you know, and now he's a filmmaker and a director and different stuff like that. So he used his platform in order to make a change, and he took his platform and went to the president of the United States and the president-elect and tried to change things. Now he said he don't know about politics, but they put the spotlight on him. You know, so just to play devil's advocate, those people that Malcolm X mentioned, even though he said he was puppeting clowns, they had the platform to do what they needed to do.
Right.
You know, so that's just to play devil's advocate. Now, I would prefer a more, you know, I guess somebody else to do it. But if the person has a platform, and I do take my hat off that he even attempted to do what he was doing. You know, versus all the backlash he got from the Black community because he sat down with Trump. And just like that one brother said, once you cross political lines, you will get a lot of backlash from hatred from other Black people. And
you know what? Personally, me, I don't like Van Jones because he's the one that, you know, he's talking about himself. Like I've heard him doing on CNN and on you know, MSNBC or whatever other station he was on, you know, this past election. But beside the point, I'm sorry, we digress, right?
Right.
Brittany, Britt had a comment, said it's so interesting learning about how man handled race and knowing the Bible's biblical side too. It makes it easier to cope with as well. Like I feel sad about it, yeah, but I also understand it. You know what, and I do too. At my job, we're going through some racial things that are going on in my job, and it just seems like, you know, Devin, I don't know if you have something on YouTube before I say the story.
Yeah, Kim said she like everything Malcolm X said and all these fists.
Yeah, you know, we're going through some racial.
Some of the comments that was said during the video.
I can't. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. You know, because I did comment on the comments that was said during the video, and I forgot to read those. I apologize. So I'm going all the way back up. Sister Renee, Michelle, I'm sorry, said, "Happy Sabbath. This country was birthed from civil disobedience." I think I already read that. Yep, I read that one. So okay, so here we go. She said, "There is a flip side to that. When educated Black people are in professional circles, but are down to earth, the professional Blacks often make that person feel badly about being down to earth. The funny thing is that the whites in the circle don't seem to mind the down to earth mindset." And which I definitely agree with. And I said, and then she said, whether educated or professionally or not, Israel is a piece of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of the educated ones look down on the ones who aren't.
And,
I think lowly of them and think that they're higher and different things like that.
The one thing that the guy Solomon did say too, because he said that some of the Black people that he ran across, this is using his own personal experience, he had said that, you know, they were happy for him that he, you know, got his degrees from whatever, I think he said Princeton or Yale or whatever, and, you know, he was doing good things, you know, but sometimes sometimes that stuff goes to your head as a educated brother, And I'm not saying it was him, even though I feel that way, but I'm not saying it's him, and that's what Sister Michelle was talking about. And on the flip side, a lot of us say, oh, well, I did it. How come you can't do this? It's easy. It's, and it's not easy at all. It's a blessing that you got that way.
Right. So like you said, even so, it can be a flip side that those who are educated will look down on those who aren't. You know what I mean?
Right. No, yeah. But I'm sorry. The one other thing I like that Malcolm X said was about the fox and the wolf. Yeah. And I love that analogy.
The liberals and the conservatives. That's basically what he was saying.
That's basically what he was saying. That's why Kim said I loved all of it, because we need to make sure that we understand that both party lines, regardless of where you lie, they don't have our best interests. Pontius Pilate didn't have our best interests. Herod didn't have our best interests. But then again, we don't even have our own best interests because we keep on trying to crabs in the barrel. But we need to have our own best interests, because, like you said, we're the only ones that can get ourselves out of this, obviously by returning to the Lord.
Right. That's always the bottom line. Return to the Lord. But ultimately, what is funny about this whole thing, if we would understand, the basis of the scripture, which is talking about the fruits of the spirit.
Oh yeah,
we wouldn't even have this problem in the first place as a people, especially those who are in the truth, because honestly, this carries over even into the truth. Like, what camp you go to, or what class you go to, or who your teacher, and this, and this, and then there's always that division within the truth. Like the separated people, the sanctified people are sanctified like you wouldn't believe.
What set you claim?
Basically, it's like they take the education from the streets and take it over to the Bible,
right?
And trying to run it the same way. And that's something that when Satan get into this thing, and he really messes it all up. So we understand the fruits of the spirit is what love, patience, long suffering, and mercy, and all those different things. We'll be a lot better off.
Right. Right. And I do like what exactly piggyback on what you're saying. I forgot the one brother we went on his radio show on 3-4 weeks ago.
Brother Isaac, the Wake Up Show.
Yeah, the Wake Up Show. Shout out to Brother Isaac, too. Definitely appreciate that. But he tried. He's doing his best to try to make sure that mindset doesn't have a place to exist in his in what he's doing. To bridging out all the other camps and so on and so forth.
No camp banging and stuff like that.
Right.
Chris, Israelite Lives Matter. Happy Sabbath to you, bro. Happy Sabbath to you as well. That's on YouTube.
Okay. Hey, happy Sabbath, brother Chris. Happy Sabbath to you as well. So it's just a shame. And it's a shame that Malcolm X talked about this, over 50, 60 years ago, and we're still at this point. A lot of people want to say, and I've had this conversation, pretty sure you have too, Devin, where they're saying that, we're making traction now, now because of what happened, because of the black president, which we understand what that was about. And what's happening now in the world today, we're making progress even from the 60s. And we could just look at videos like this and say, and I'm not trying to be funny, like, where's the progress? What are you talking about? Malcolm's still talking about the same thing now as he was back then. I'm pretty sure I can find old clips of all of our civil rights leaders, which, by the way, we don't have those anymore. That's something we have entertainers now instead of people like him, leading us. And again, nothing wrong with the platform. It's just, why is that?
Man, I don't know. I can't even answer that question, to be honest.
Right.
Kim said because we lost our faith.
Yeah. And it's getting worse and worse, but we think we're getting better and better. And that's Satan, bro. That's Satan, man.
Well, Satan want to, he's subtle. He want to rock you to sleep. He want to think everything is fine, everything is okay.
You said Satan was a liberal? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Well, there's a scripture that's kind of closely to that, but that's a whole nother thing.
Listen, I'm not either or. I was really just playing.
Right, right. But yeah, you know, it's I don't know. We as a people really need to focus on our I guess our own communities right now and get ourselves together, as well as what we can do, of course, with laws and different things like that. YouTube, Chris, Israelite Lives Matter. We're still trying to get justice in the streets instead of educating our people from the youth up on what thus said the Lord. That's true. That's true. And like we were earlier, I just don't like when we take street wisdom and bring it to the Bible and try to run, you know, our churches, camps, classes, whatever, as a gang, so say.
Right.
You know, because I'm sure that's not how the Lord wanted to set up.
Right. R.A. Torrey just posted something on Facebook saying Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 10 through 13 is why we are in this condition.
Okay. I'll turn to it, bro, if you want to.
I'll read the next comment then. So the verse said, amen to that, Chris. I'm watching on Facebook and YouTube. Oh, man, she multitasking. I can't do none of that at all.
So Jeremiah chapter 16, and I want to read verses 10 through 13. It says, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore have the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us? And what is our iniquity? And what is our sin that we have committed against the Lord our God? That is so true. Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord, and have walked after other gods, and have severed them, and served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law. And ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, ye walk everyone after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me. Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers. There shall ye serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. Yep, that's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to serve that other guy real soon. A lot of us are going broke to do it.
Yeah. Yep. In a pandemic, in a recession.
Right. You know, when jobless is like 11 million. You know?
Right. But we still need to do what we need to do.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
and if you notice, I mean, I don't know how they're doing over here, but in Philadelphia, you know, before, you know, when the numbers like this, they did a hard shutdown. But because of, you know, the holidays, they don't want to do a hard shutdown. They still got to do a little bit of something.
Right. I know Indiana's in the red so far.
Yeah.
Everything like it's still the same. Man, I'm driving to go to work, and I go past some, you know, stores and stuff like that. Place is packed. So I don't know.
Right.
But I know I got family members who got it, you know. So I'm not trying to, you know, luckily my dad, he's okay now.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. Praise the Lord for that. Yeah.
Not nothing to take lightly.
All right.
So basically, let's end it on Leviticus 19, 16 through 18.
Okay.
To sum it up, basically, if we start, like the brother said, you know, Chris on YouTube said, we start teaching our children basically the fruits of the Spirit and really enforce the fruits of the Spirit, even within our classes and with one another, that can change how we're supposed to deal with one another. Leviticus 19, let's read verses 16 through 18. We'll end it on that. Leviticus 19, verses 16 through 18. When you get there, bro, go ahead.
All right, so thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord.
So this scripture, it starts off saying in verse 1, you shall be holy for the Lord God, I'm holy. And he started giving us things how to be holy, specific things how to be holy. You know, like keep the Sabbath, honor thy father and mother. Now here he's talking about how, you know, you should deal with your neighbor, not going up and down as a talebearer. So basically, you know, keep, you know, comments to yourself. We're talking about your neighbor. Verse 17.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
All right. So he don't want you hating your brother in your heart, whether it's because your brother is more successful than you, which is, you know, vanity in and of itself, but you shouldn't hate anybody for that reason. You should be content. And it also says, now, if somebody do something wrong to you, you can go ahead and let them know. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't want to suffer sin upon them. You don't want to get revenge upon them and different things like that. Verse 18.
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord.
So that kind of sums up this whole thing. So basically, you know, it's funny how people get all extra nice during this time of year, but this is something that if you're a Christian, especially a Bible Christian, you should be 24/7. You know, it should be goodwill towards man all year long. You're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. This is the second greatest commandment. So, and if we carried ourselves according to just the few scriptures we read just here, that would turn this whole hate down against our own brother and our own countrymen.
Right. And, you know, sort of that, you know, black on black false, the way they falsely projected would even go down to the point they wouldn't even talk about it anymore.
There'd be no point.
There'd be no point. Right. So, all right. Well, the only thing I have is my closing remarks. Next week's topics. And if you guys, we want to do 2 topics, you know, let us know. I bet you have Devin on Facebook or I don't know if you're on Instagram, but
you know, Spears on Instagram.
Yes. Okay. So, you know, hit us up either way. Next possible topics for next week. Want to do the reliance of the government funding in the Black community. You know, it kind of is a offshoot of what we just talked about, but you know, talks about some, you know, basically how the Black people rely on the government so much. Is that a hindrance to, you know, us progressing? Is that a hindrance to us, you know, not getting married, not, you know, instead of marrying to, you know, one another, we're marrying into the government and relying on them. You know, I don't need no man because I got this stimulus check. Making a joke, but, you know, kind of serious. You know,
like fair, like welfare. If you write a reverse, it's fair.
Exactly. So, you know, we'll talk about that. Or I don't know if you guys saw some of the things that were going on earlier this week and into late last week, but the censoring of religious freedom. You know, I think the Supreme Court just kind of stopped a government. It was something with the Supreme Court kind of stopped the case where they didn't want religious people to gather. And listen, I'm not saying go to church because Corona's real, like Devin said, but you know, should we have a choice? And you know, they're starting to censor some of the religious freedoms, and we know what that's going to lead eventually. So 2 topics we want to talk about. You know, you guys, you know, shout us out, let you know what you guys want to hear.
All right, so you want them to pick between the 2, either that one or that one. Which one they want to hear first, or?
Yeah, either or. I mean, whatever you want to do. We're gonna pick between 2, or if you want to hear one first and hear another one next one. If you guys think they're both good topics, we'll do both of them.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so nothing else. Thanks everybody for joining us for this discussion. Once again, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be streaming our regular Sabbath lesson. Then we'll be back here next week at 7 Central Standard Time, 8 Eastern. And if you're another time zone, sorry, you got to do the math. All right. So thank you for joining us. Have a great Sabbath, everybody. Peace in Jesus' name, and see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Peace.
Sister Michelle said, amen. Keep the commandments and growing in the fruits of the Spirit is the answer to turn things around for us. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right, bro.
Peace.